I'm back. So it's been so long since we've updated you guys. I've missed you, I've missed posting, and there's just been so much going on. So yay, good news, we're in our house. Yay! So fast forward, and now we are building our farm. That's the focus, and I have some exciting updates to share with you guys. I cannot wait to tell you all about it and show you, most importantly. Thank God for video, right? So our farm is actually growing, and I just feel so blessed. Like, I just want to take this time to say, like, God is making it happen, and I can't wait to tell you all about that. But first, let me go get the thing I'm super excited to show you. Okay, so are you ready for this awesomeness? Here it is. Actually, let's turn this around. And ta-da! We have baby goats! Everyone meet Poppy and Sigurd. They are new to our farm. And now I feel like it's actually a farm. Come here, Poppy! Aren't they the cutest things in the world? So Poppy is almost 4 weeks old now. We got her when she was, I believe, 10 or 11 days old. And Sigurd is about a week and a half. Oh, very nice for the camera, Poppy. Thank you. But sometimes that's the easiest way to get a picture of them is when they're going potty, because they do not sit still often. So yes, Sigurd is about a week and a half, and Poppy was actually only 1 pound when she was born. She was born on a really cold night, and her sister was average size and was just walking all over her. So the breeder pulled Poppy inside within a half an hour of being born, thank God. And so she is very tiny. Sigurd, like I said, he's only a week and a half old, and he's the same exact size as her. Actually, the day we brought him home a couple days ago, I weighed them both, and they were both exactly 5 pounds. Now, Poppy has actually gained a little bit since Sigurd came home, and man, this has been a huge learning curve, and I have such a story to go with this. I don't even know where to start, but it has just made my faith even stronger. So several years ago, we were still living in a subdivision, and we had gotten our chickens and our quail, and I just felt, and I had, my garden, and I just felt like God was calling me to goats. Actually, I didn't realize that yet. I felt like I needed goats, and I didn't really understand why, aside from the cuteness, obviously. But I felt like I needed goat milk, and it didn't make sense because I've never even tasted goat milk before. Well, I have now. I bought some from the store, which I've heard is horrendous, and it was gross. But I've been told not to use that as a gauge on if we like it or not. So I didn't understand why I felt the need to have goats. I also felt the need, to have honeybees. I don't even like honey. So where was all this coming from? And then I saw a sermon from Joyce Meyer saying that sometimes there's things that you want and you don't realize why, and it's because it's what God wants for you. And that's when I realized that God was calling me to something, and I needed to follow it. I needed to pursue it. And that was the beginning of it. It didn't all come at once like that, of course. So getting the baby goats was a huge leap of faith for me. Now, I've been studying goats for years. I've wanted them for a long time, but I never really knew if I would ever be able to get them. And with the farm, of course, I was excited that we don't have restrictions like we did in our subdivision that we were in with their no hoof animal restrictions. So I've been super excited to have goats, but it's not just, the ability to have them. It's, the knowledge of taking care of them. They are way different than any animal I've ever had. And their care is completely different. So this was something that I did not take lightly, and I started just really feeling like God was calling us to the goats, and so I was studying them even more, and I'm just like, I don't know, they seem so complicated. You gotta worry about their selenium levels and all these things that you don't think about with dogs or other pets. And so I finally was just like, praying to God, is this it? Is this your plan for us? And I really felt like he was saying yes, and now, do it now. So I started looking, and I discussed it with Ricky, and he agreed that he felt like it was time. And so we saw Poppy for sale, and we went and picked her up. And we were all in cloud nine. Oh my gosh, Poppy is actually Ricky's baby. And we got her for his birthday. And so we went and picked her up, and she's a bottle baby, of course. So they'll be weaned between 8 and 12 weeks old. And like I said, she was only about a week and a half when we got her. And when we got her home, I started making up her bottle and everything. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was ugly. It was not the picture perfect plan I thought that we had. And so we got her home, and I made up her bottle, and Ricky and I together were trying to give her the bottle, and she did not like the nipple of the bottle that I had. The woman before me said she was using a human baby bottle, so that's what I had, and she did not like it. And so I ran to the store because she hadn't eaten for hours. It was definitely time. So I ran to the store and got a baby goat nipple and brought that home. And then for the next hour, I continued to try to feed her. And she seemed to like the nipple better, but then she kept quitting. And, Ricky and I were doing it together. It took all 4 of our hands, and we could have still used extras. And I just started crying. And I was like, I am not qualified for this. How is it I cannot feed her? I cannot do this simple thing for her. I can't give her bottle. And so I'm like, well, maybe the hole in the nipple is not big enough. So I went and checked, and there was no hole in the nipple. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm even admitting this. And so in my panic of getting her fed, I was messaging the breeder, and she's like, she needs to eat. We could lose her. And I'm like, oh my goodness, is it that bad? And so, and she was even, I'll come pick her up. I'll take her back. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong. So then I checked the nipple, and there was no hole. So I cut the hole in it, and she ate perfectly, of course. But that set me off. It got me thinking of every other worst case scenario that could possibly happen, and it just made me sick, physically sick. I was crying. I told Ricky, I don't know if I can do this. What if, this happens? And I happen to be in a goat group that, people go there with their problems. Now, like I said, I educated myself on goats, and I know how to take care of them, but I was just so worried about all the worst case scenarios that could possibly happen. And so I, talked it over with Ricky, and I'm like, can we do this? And what have we done? And whatever. And he's like, I think it's fine. She's eating. I think we can handle this. You can't think about everything that could go wrong. And then I realized I don't do that with all my other animals, Sure, if I can't diagnose my dogs of everything, so why would I be able to, diagnose the goats with everything too? I needed to just calm down. And so that, I just kept talking to God in my head about it, and I felt like he was saying, yeah, that might happen. And guess what? I'll be there. I'm going to help you through this. I felt it very strongly in my heart that God was saying, and I will be there if and when that happens. So that calmed me down, and I realized that yes, we are following his plan. We're doing it right. And then, Poppy needed a friend. You cannot have just one goat. You have to have 2 or more. They're very social animals. They run in a herd. And so Poppy was super tiny though. So we wanted to wait till she was a little bigger so she wouldn't get trampled by anybody. And then we were struggling to find another baby girl. The plan was 2 girls. Hey, baby. Hi. The plan was 2 girls, and I couldn't find any other girls. So that's when we got Sigurd. Oh, you lovey-dovey. He's a boy, and he's going to be a wether, which means no baby making, because we don't want Poppy to get pregnant too soon. And it has just been a whirlwind since. It's been a learning curve. Now, it wasn't perfect after we got Poppy to eat. I mean, it was at first, but then I was giving her her mom's milk at that time. And then I ran out of her mom's milk, and it is, a controversial subject in the goat groups, but basically most veterinarians and groups that I talk to say that whole cow's milk, with stuff that you just buy at the store, is the best thing you can feed them if you cannot give them goat milk. So I was feeding her that, and after a few days she was having a stomach ache, and I was concerned that she had bloat. I, went through my whole panic all over again. I was physically sick. I was like, I'm so scared that she's not gonna make it. Well, it turned out she just had a tummy ache because, the cow's milk wasn't sitting well in her stomach. And so we got her the probiotics. I was doing enemas, like, come on. And then she got what appeared to be an ear infection. And so I feel like God is throwing it all at me, and I'm seeing symptoms in her, and I'm researching it, and I'm learning even more. And I honestly feel like God threw me in the deep end and was like, swim. Because this plan that he has for us, I'm still not 100% sure of it, but I know that he wants us to build our farm, and I do feel like he wants us to build it quickly. I feel this propeller, like, keep moving. And another thing I'm embarrassed to admit to you guys is that we don't have any structures yet. We've got these baby goats. They're bottle babies, so they're inside the house right now, but we have no structures to keep them in. Now, that is a huge no-no with getting animals, but I'm telling you, God led me to it, so I know he's going to lead me through it. And I found, I was like, these structures are expensive. How do you budget for these things? How do you budget for a farm in general? Like, everything about a farm is expensive. I always thought that people did farming as a frugal way of living, but it's not really that frugal. Yes, you're providing for yourself, but man, it really is cheaper just to get it from the store. The buildings that you have to have, the pasture, the fencing, everything. And so I just have been like, God, I see this, but I don't see how. But I have faith. I know he's going to take us through and he's going to show us how. And one of the first steps was the pallets. I started seeing that pallets are an amazing way to build structures, to build fences, and everything that we need. So, and we happen to have a source of free unlimited pallets. How cool is that? So right there, God was like, I'm going to make this happen. And we have a truck now, so we can go pick up the pallets, and just all these little ways God is making it happen. And so now I'm building structures with pallets, and they'll be built before the babies are old enough to go outside, so they will have a building to go into. I will not send them outside without it. They will be locked up in case of predators and everything, but this is just the whirlwind that I'm going through, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. There's just so much going on. And like I said, I feel like God threw me in the deep end and was like, swim, because he's like, I need you to learn fast. I need you to do this fast. Because whatever his plan is, again, like I said, I don't know. I kind of feel like Noah with Noah's Ark. Not that I'm on that level. I'm not comparing myself to Noah necessarily. But he didn't really understand, I'm sure. He was just kind of like, why am I building a boat? There's not been rain in how many years? Like, I don't know if his generation had even seen rain, had they? So it doesn't really make sense to be building this ark. But, I mean, with food shortages out there going on and everything, I really feel like there is a purpose. And I'm going to follow his lead 100%. So these baby goats are the beginning of that. And of course, we already have our chickens and our quail, and we have more coming, hopefully. I can't wait to share with you every step of this, but I'm just so excited to tell you that God is good and it's happening. And I doubted myself, but I didn't doubt him. And I knew that if he led me to this, he will lead me through it, and he already has. And so now, and that's the thing, with Poppy having all of her issues out of the get-go, I feel like having been through that, I went from, this girl who was crying and like, I don't know, did we make the wrong decision, to now I'm confident. I'm giving enemas. I'm, giving medications, probiotics, and all these other medications, and I'm dealing with it, and I have way more confidence than I did then, and now I'm like, I can't handle it. I'm doing great. Look at my babies. They're doing awesome. And so I have the confidence now, and I think that was something that I needed, a boost of confidence to to handle everything that's coming up next. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love hearing from you guys. I love it when you comment. I love hearing, how much you love our babies, and I appreciate you guys. So don't forget to hit the like button, share, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us.